dog Olly, and we are going to read Call of the Wild by Jack London. Yeah, Olly, the eagle boy. Okay, I'm gonna read about half. I'm only gonna read a small amount of the first chapter, mainly because Olly gets restless when it's outside and it looks as if it's about to rain, and I'd rather not be caught out when it's raining. So yes, chapter 1, the primitive. Into the primitive. Buck did not read the newspapers, or he would have known that trouble was brewing, not alone for himself, but for every Tidewater dog, strong of muscle and with warm, long hair, from Puget Sound in San Diego, because men groping in the Arctic darkness had found a yellow metal, and because steamship and transportation companies were booming the find, thousands of men were rushing into the Northland. These men wanted dogs, and the dogs they wanted were heavy, with strong muscles by which to toil, and furry coats to protect them from the frost. Buck lived at a big house in the sun-kissed Santa Clara Valley. Judge Miller's place, it was called. It stood back from the road, half hidden among the trees, through which glimpses could be caught of the wide, cool veranda that ran around its four sides. The house was approached by gravelled driveways which wound about through wide-spreading lawns and under the interlacing boughs of tall poplars. At the rear, things were on even a more spacious scale than at the front. There were great stables where a dozen grooms and boys held forth, rows of vine-clad servants' cottages, an endless and orderly array of outhouses, long grape arbors, green pasture orchards, and berry patches. Then there was the pumping plant for the artisan well, and the big cement tank where Judge Miller's boys took their morning plunge and kept cool in the hot afternoon. And over the great Demes in Buck wrote. Sorry, I'm failing at reading. Here he was born, and here he had lived the 4 years of his life. It was true there were other dogs. There could not but be other dogs on so vast a place, but they did not count. They came and went, resided in the populous kennels, or lived obscurely in the recesses of the houses after the fashion of Toots the Japanese pug, or Yazabel the Mexican hairless, strange creatures that rarely put nose outdoors or set foot on the ground. On the other hand, there were the fox terriers, a score of them at least, who yelped fearful promises to Yazabel, looking out of windows at them, and protected by a legion of housemaids armed with brooms and mops. Buck was neither house dog nor kennel dog. The whole realm was his. He plunged into the swimming tank and went hunting the judge's sons. He escorted Molly and Alice, the judge's daughters, on long twilight or early morning rambles, on wintry nights. He got loose. On wintry nights he lay at Judge's feet before the roaring library fire. He carried the judge's grandsons on his back, rolled them in the grass, and guarded their footsteps through wild adventures, down the fountain, in the stable yard, and even beyond where the paddocks were, and the berry patches. Among the terriers he stalked imperiously, and Toots and Yazabel he utterly ignored, for he was king over all creeping, crawling, flying things of Judge Miller's place, humans included. His father Elmo, a huge Saint Bernard, had been judge's inseparable companion, and Buck bid fair to follow in the way of his father. He was not so large. He weighed only 140 pounds, for his mother Shep had been a Scotch Shepherd dog. Nevertheless, 140 pounds, to which was added the dignity that comes of good living and universal respect, enabled him to carry himself in right royal fashion. During the 4 years since his puppyhood, he had lived the life of a sated aristocrat. He had a fine pride in himself, with even a trifle egotistical, as country gentlemen sometimes became because of their insular situation. But he had saved himself by not becoming a mere pampered house dog. Hunting and kindred outdoor delights had kept down the fat and hardened his muscles, and to him, as the cold tubbing races, the love of water had been a tonic and a health preserver. And this was the manner of dog Buck was in the fall of 1897, when the Klondike strike dragged men from all the world into the frozen north. But Buck did not read the newspapers, and he did not know that Manuel, one of the gardener's helpers, was an undesirable acquaintance. Manuel had one besetting sin: he loved to play Chinese lottery. Also, in his gambling, he had one besetting weakness: faith in a system, and this made his damnation certain. For to play a system requires money, while the wages of the gardener's helper do not lap over the needs of a wife and numerous progeny. The judge was at a meeting of the Raisin Growers Association, and the boys were busy organizing an athletic club on the memorable night of Manuel's treachery. No one saw him and Buck go off through the orchard on what Buck imagined was merely a stroll, and with the exception of a solitary man, no one saw them arrive at the little flag station known as College Park. This man talked to Manuel, and money chinked between them. You might wrap up the goods before you deliver 'em, the stranger said gruffly, and Manuel doubled a piece of stout rope around Buck's neck under the collar. Twist it and you'll choke him plenty, said Manuel, and the stranger grunted a ready affirmative. Okay, because its sun looked sort of gloomy, and also the fact that in Melbourne the weather is unpredictable, I'm gonna head home, especially seeing as Olly just found a bird. So, yeah, I know I didn't get very far into the book, but if I read any longer, I'd be having to be dragged across the concrete. He might be small, but he's strong.